Hello friends, welcome. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than most of my videos. It's not really a how-to, it's more of a sharing of two very special projects that I've been working on for quite a while. So I have made two of the Heartfelt Creation Flip Fold 12 by 12 albums into wedding albums for my two daughter-in-laws. So I wanted to do a quick flip through with them and kind of show you what I did. And if you have any of the Flip Fold albums, perhaps you'll be inspired by what I have created. So let's go ahead and change the camera view and take a look at them. Okay, so here is the first one, and I apologize that you're seeing more of my tabletop than normal, so you're kind of seeing the messy stuff on the edges here with my tape that holds down my wood panel mat. But this is the first of the wedding albums, and I had so much fun creating this. And you will see pictures of my family through the way, but what I'm really showing is the way I decorated these albums. So this is my oldest son Jack and his beautiful bride Jacy and their wedding day. So I wanted to show you the paper pad that I used to decorate this. I used 1.5 of the 12 by 12 paper pad called Tales of You and Me, made by Prima. And I believe you can still get this paper pad at Hobby Lobby. And I used one full one and then one that more just a fussy cut flowers and such out of. So I'll show you that as we flip through it. So this is the cover. I added some lace. This is a fussy cut piece that I added on. And there is a large magnet in here. And this is a fussy cut, or no, I'm sorry, this one's part of the paper, but this one right here is fussy cut. Then this one is also part of the paper. I added a piece right here that can be journaled on. And now I'm going to flip, sorry. Now I'm just going to flip it open to the inside. Let's try to position it here. Let me move that back a little bit. Move things over. Okay, hopefully this can show you the whole 2 pages here of the inside. So this is straight when it opens. And you can kind of see how I use different papers that all coordinate but look good together visually. Okay, so this is the inside or the front flap. I'm going to go ahead and open that for now. And we're going to start on this far, it's my left. It's the left-hand side and for me. Let me see here. All right. Okay. So I decided to do this side of the album is the before the actual ceremony. The other side of the album has the ceremony and the reception. So this is all the pre-ceremony activities. And you can see here my daughter-in-law with her bridesmaids. Here is another fussy cut item that I put down here just to add the pretties. And I used Distress Oxide Walnut ink to ink all the edges of my fussy cut pieces. And I also inked the edges of all the pieces that I put down. So this opens up like this. They had a very large wedding party. So here she is with all the sisters. Here's another fussy cut piece that's just like this piece, but put in the opposite corner. And this is a little tuck piece that can be journaled upon. It tucks right back in there. I did leave room for her to journal, and I have some cream colored paper that I will back in the rose color to add the names of all the girls that were her bridesmaids. And then these are also bridesmaids, but they're the sisters, so they don't have their individual pictures. And so that is the bride side. Now this totally flips over. So I'm going to flip it back and you can see my son Jack with all of his groomsmen, or most of his groomsmen. And again, I tried to leave room where we can journal the names of all the different boys that participated. And if you're familiar with the Flip Fold album, you know that this is going to flip up again and give you another side. So I am going to move the album down so we can do that. All right, so here I made a solid piece and put the two 5x7s of the large group of girls and the large group of guys. I also went ahead and made sure that I put a piece here on the spine of the album on the inside. And that completes the that portion of all the groomsmen, all the bridesmaids. And as you can see, they had very large wedding parties, so it was kind of challenging to get it all in there. So now this is the middle section. And this top flip piece, I did put a magnet right here, and there's a magnet on the back side right here, so this attaches. There are places here where you could put more photos, but I decided not to do that. Of course, you could put them here. Out of chipboard, I popped some little circles and I glued them in underneath the papers just to provide little tabs. And I'm going to ink those tabs. I realized when I got ready to make this video I hadn't done that yet. But so this lifts up. Here's a picture, and this is all the bridesmaids getting ready and such. So here's the dresses hanging. This opens up here. It shows more of the girls having fun while they're getting ready. Of course, there's room here to journal or put more pictures. And then this folds down. And again, it's just some shots of the bridesmaids. It's got another little pretty cutout here. And I love this one of my daughter-in-law looking in the mirror, smiling at her bridesmaids. So just a lot of area where you can put pictures. Now in this particular album, my daughter-in-law gave me the pictures that she wanted, so there is room for her to add some more pictures if she'd like, but that's why I only have these pictures, because these are the ones she chose. So here on this bottom piece, the same way, there's a magnet right back here. There's room if you wanted to do any more pictures here. You can do journaling here. We might put the girls and the boys or something. Here's a really nice picture of my daughter-in-law's grandfather who performed the ceremony, and another pretty little cutout of the roses. Here are my two sons. This is the groom and the best man. And then this opens up to show me and my son the day of the wedding. And you flip this on down and move it up just a little bit. Here's one of my husband ironing my son's tie while he has the tie on, and pictures of the groomsmen getting ready and things like that. So again, more room here. Let's close this down. So that is the whole left-hand side of the album. So now let's go ahead and move it to the right side. Whoops. I tried to move everything on my desk out of the way, but there's a few things there. So, okay, this is the left-hand side of the album. And if you're familiar with flip folds, it has this little piece here that is a closure. And I like to decorate that closure piece. And again, I added a chipboard tab right here that I will either cover with paper or ink it a different color. All of my chipboard tabs that I added. And all of these are like 4, 5, 6 layers thick of chipboard because I wanted them to last and not to bend the paper. If you're using high-powered magnets and you're always lifting up from this, over time that gets kind of bent up. So that's why I add these tabs, and just to help it to last. So I did cover this piece with a pretty piece of paper, and that's all just paper. That's not fussy cutting. So here on this middle section, we've got a picture of the invitation and a close-up of her ring, and I've done more fussy cutting pieces. This folds down. Here. A little tricky on my desk, no matter how much room I tried to make. It's going to be hard to see, but this piece folds down, and I added the black and white and the pictures of her shoes, you know, the bottom pieces. Then these are pictures of the bride and the bride's mother helping her get ready, and I love these mirror pictures, so pretty. And then this piece up here, I have a couple little tags. I think there's 3 of them. There's 3 little journaling cards that we can put up in here. And then this lifts up. I'm going to go ahead and fold this down real quick and show you this. Well, let's do this section next. So this does have some pictures on it. I'll show you those in a moment, as well as down at the bottom. But here is a fold out. You can fit a lot of pictures on this fold out. And when it's closed, you see the bride and her father walking down the aisle. My son and grandfather, the best man, here just their heads on this picture. Then you see the 2 of them standing at the altar sharing their vows, and then you see the 2 of them walking out after they've said their vows. So a really quick progression here. But if you pull it out, you see the in-between. So this folds out 3 thick. And now you see much more. You see the flower girls. You see them walking down the aisle with the baby in the wagon. You also see a lot of the bridesmaids and groomsmen walking in. So I'm going to flip this back. So this folds like this, but you also have all that room on the back side. And you can see they had a large wedding party, so I show each of them walking down the aisle on this long pull-out. So both sides are just filled with pictures. But before you pull it open, you see a short part. Now I'm going to pull down. This next part is the cake. They had a very small cake because their whole wedding was desserts. Again, a pretty cutout. Over here, you see a picture of the order of how things happened in the wedding. That was handed to everybody as they walked in. And let's see if I'm going to pull that down just so I can pull this up for you to see. Ooh, down here on this bottom flap, you see 2 pictures of the entire wedding party. And this was when they kissed and when they turned and were announced as husband and wife to walk out. So that's what these 2 larger pictures. And again, there's some pretty floral cutouts. All right, when you're looking at this on a table, it's not so hard, but when you're trying to get in the camera view, there's a lot. So here's just a close-up of my son. This lifts up. And now we have pictures of the reception and of the bride. So on the flipped up part, we have my son and his wife being announced to walk into the reception, and the cake next to them eating the cake. Manipulating this in the camera here. There we go. Now we have some of my daughter-in-law, JC, getting her bridal portraits. And this opens up. I'm going to move it over a little bit so you can see this right-hand side. Okay, then on this section, this is that other half. Like this was the ceremony. Now on the right-hand side is the reception. And we have all the black and white photos. And that opens up here to show some of the reception photos. And again, if you open this up, you see some more. And there's lots of places to add journaling. And let's see here. This piece opens up like this. And again, you see more of the couple and of the bridal party. And then this very far right-hand flap is them leaving after the reception. So we've got them kissing with their bottle of champagne and them in the car, and the car pulling away, decorated and ready to go. So that is the first album. Close it all back up. My journaling cards fell out there. And we'll pull this flap down that holds everything together. This comes down and this closes. So this was my oldest son, Jack, and how I decorated the wedding album for that daughter-in-law. And it was a very romantic, Victorian-looking wedding. It took place, you know, a lot, the colors, it took place in a church. It was pinks and creams and champagne colors, things like that. Now, my next son, Jordan, and his wife, Bree, they were married outdoors during COVID at a ranch. So their colors and their theme is very, very different than my older sons. But I used the exact same album and a similar plan. But I'll show you the differences of how they look. And for that one, I used these 2 paper pads. A lot of the papers came from this one. And then some of the more backgroundy papers came from this one. All right, so again, I did add a piece of lace. Here is a chipboard word that says cherish, and I used a black and white of them on the front. So their cover, you can see, is very different. But when we open it up, there's a large spot here if you wanted to add any journaling. And much like the other one, we've got the before wedding activities on this side and the wedding and reception on this side. So I'll start on this side just like we did before. Again, I added tabs, which I will either color or ink. And these first ones, I just wanted some things that I think about when I do it. You can see how this picture, the bride is looking towards the center of the album. I will rarely put a picture where someone is just looking off out of the album. They're either looking at something. Now this one, she is looking this direction, but her head is tilted towards this direction. So those are things I think about when I place my pictures. Other things I think about, you notice this dark brown paper? I didn't put a dark brown paper next to it. It's got this lighter green. And if you look over here on the other side, it's got that same green. So I always try to keep some balance going on between the papers that I pick. Also, the textures on the papers, you've got your straight wood here, a smaller pattern here. This, you know, that I very much think about when I'm choosing my papers and placing them. So that's just some stuff to think about. So these flip fold albums, there you see so much of them at the same time. So what you place underneath makes a difference. But I also covered the spine here with a nice piece. So let's go ahead and open this one up. All right, now here's the inside, how this opens. And these were the pictures that Bree took with her family before the wedding started, except for this one is one of after the wedding, but I just liked the way it looked overall, so I included it here. So that goes that way. And then this part opens up, and here she is with her bridesmaids. The overall layout is very similar to the other album. So here's the sisters and some of the bridesmaids, and this opens on up. And again, you see some of the bridesmaids, and you can see how the papers coordinate and play off one another. So let's see, is that all of that? Yeah, I think we covered all of that. Yes, okay, so that's that whole left-hand side. Now we're going to go to that middle section, and in the same way, I did the girls before the wedding and the boys before the wedding. Added my little tabs here. And this opens up, and this is the bride's mother. There's a nice place for journaling here. She had made t-shirts for all of them, so there they are. And when this opens up, there's just some fun shots of the girls either getting ready, or this is all photos that were taken prior to the ceremony. And again, you can see with my papers how I put the same texture on the top and bottom here with a darker piece on the bottom. And on this one, I did add a few photos on the back side. So this is just a funny one of the bride and groom. And then this is the back side of all their t-shirts, which she had put funny quotes on the back of all their shirts, which I thought was really fun. And then here are the boys. Again, there's plenty of room to journal all around. Here's me with my two sons, me and my older son, all the men praying together before the wedding. Then we have my two sons and a lot of the groomsmen. When I pull this down, there's more of the groomsmen. And just a little side note. This one right here is the gentleman that my daughter is marrying in October. So he was a groomsman in my son's wedding. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and close down that side and go to the other side. So this is the front flap. Open that. So here is similar to the other. And this flips up. And again, I have added a decorative piece to the back side as well. And these two photos, I chose those because when this was down, they just complemented. They're walking towards the inside. Here they're looking at one another, but it just covers up his back a little bit. But I like the way those two photos looked right there. There's the same pocket here to add journaling. This raises up, and just like in the other, when this flips down, you see the dances at the reception. And there is place here for journaling, although that will show, and it will show here. So you want to be careful however you journal here, because it would be cut in half and it would be seen. So you want to be mindful of that when you do any journaling. But in the same way, we've got the reception with the bride and her dad walking down the aisle, the couple at the altar, and then when they turn and walk away, having been announced husband and wife. So it's a very short, quick look at the ceremony, or when you pull it out, you get a lot more of the in-between. And so the bride's veil actually blew off in the wind, and that was a really cute picture. And then I will pull this up just a little bit. There's some close-ups of my son, more of them at the altar. And then on the back side would be people. There's my husband and I in the crowd, and just more pictures of just the whole ceremony of walking down the aisle when her dad gave her a kiss, and this is her mom's head. So, it just kind of shows the ceremony in order with more detail than what it showed on this side when it was all folded down. So hopefully hopefully that makes sense. And then I'll show you this at the end. Up in the very top here, I have one black and white of the ring bearer. And then these are the maid of honor and the best man giving their toasts during the reception. So just like in the other album, this right-hand side is the reception. So when I raise this up, you see a lot of pictures from the reception. I am a person that likes to see a lot of the different scenes and pictures, so my albums are mostly pictures. There are places to journal, but I love my pictures. So again, we got the first dance. We're praying before the meal. Their cake, dancing. This opens up and you see some of the family shots. And it opens up again and you see more. This is my family. This was a lot of the bride's family. And then this is my 3 children and the bride and groom. In the middle section down here on the back is where you see the group shots and family photos and at the reception. These are some pictures from the photo booth, one of my son. And you see how the papers kind of coordinate. The only place I use this kind of yellow golden paper was over here on this flap. And then that opens up this way. This is my soon-to-be son-in-law dancing with my son, being silly. And this is when they were leaving the reception, singing the school fight song, and one big place here to journal. So again, a whole place here that can be journaled. And for them, the pictures fit better for their driving away and the sparklers and all. They had a sparkler send off, and there's their kiss at the end of the wedding party part, or the actual ceremony part. But here's the pictures from that, and they're down here on this bottom flap. And the very last flap over here on the right was just a couple close-ups of the bride and groom. So these are the wedding albums that I've been working on. And I promised myself that before my daughter gets married that I would get these wedding albums completed. And other than adding my either paper or ink to these little tabs that I added, I think I'm pretty good. And you know what? I folded that up wrong. I forgot to close this side. There we go. So even though I add a lot of pictures in my albums, I try to have some congruity to it all, and with the papers and the way the pictures are laid out. And I'm really happy with the way they turned out. I think both of the albums really complement each of the girls and their choices. And you can see here that I added paper on the outer edges and on the back of each album. I think I forgot to show you on this one. But again, I just added some neutral papers to the sides, and then I put this pretty rose color paper on the back. So, all right, those are the 2 flip fold 12 by 12 albums that I have made for my daughter-in-laws. So I hope you enjoyed this peek at the wedding albums I've created. and a peek into my family. And hopefully next year sometime I'll have one to show you of my daughter's wedding. So thank you so much for joining me to take a look at these flip fold albums. I had so much fun creating them, and I really hope both my daughter-in-laws love them. So, all right, I enjoyed my time with you. Please come back, and I'll see you again later. Bye bye.